StephUp podcast, where we share wisdom to bring healing and growth. And on the episode today, I have my wonderful friend Timothy Waterman, who goes by the nickname Beau. So throughout this podcast, I'm going to call him Beau. Welcome, Timothy. Welcome, Beau. Still kind of get a little bit mixed up.
It's okay. All good. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I'm really glad to be here. It's an honor.
Thank you. It's an honor to have you. Every time I speak with you, first of all, you have such a kind and gentle way of connecting. And I appreciate that as somebody who really finds that more helpful. And I've had a lot of type of aggressive people always trying to tell me what to do. So how you share and ask questions is very soothing to my soul. And yeah, so can you share a little bit about who you are, what you do, your background, anything that you want to tell the audience?
Sure. So I'll just give a little bit of a what's the what's a good phrase? Just a heads up. A heads up that the way I experience my life, the way I experience myself and reality, it may sound different. I'll just say that it may sound different because I'm someone who is I'm very aware of conditioning that comes from cultures and societies, and I don't really plug them into my life like I used to. So that to say, I'm a human, I'm experiencing being human because we have all these roles and titles and things like that we like to put on top of our humanity to try and make ourselves make sense to other people's minds, if you will. So first and foremost, I'm a human. I've explored a whole lot of different things in my life, and I'm still doing different things. So I don't fit under a singular label. These days I'm really into graphic design. I'm still sharing you could call them spiritual, I like to say metaphysical perspectives that have been shown to me because for a long time I did work in the kind of like the spiritual reading realm, if you will. And so I still get a lot of insights about reality and just how the universe works because we are the universe. Like it's really not a mystery. We are the living, breathing universe. So the wisdom lives inside of us. So I have a lot of passion for sharing the wisdom that I have reconnected with within myself. And again, it's not exclusive to me. It's in all of us. I've just I've gone so deep inward that I'm like, oh, 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 oh. And I just like to share, like, hey, this is what I'm discovering in my journey. So I still share a lot of those perspectives. I'm very artistic. I'm studying film and study as an actor. So as you can tell, I'm not one thing. I'm a lot of things.
You're eclectic. That's wonderful because it's like you're playing with life, right? And what you were
Oh my gosh, yeah.
saying, where there's such a thing about labels. I've done podcasts on labels. They can be helpful to get our
Yeah.
brain used, like simplify things for us, but they're also
Mhm.
unhelpful because we're so much more than those labels.
Oh
And
my
it's
gosh,
hard
yeah.
to explain like who we are as people, right? They're like, what do you do for work? Well,
Yeah, that's why I was just like, well, I'm not gonna I was like, I'm gonna give you me. I was like, I'm like everything, but here's a few things.
yeah. And I've heard your story. You've shared it, and you went to LA doing acting,
Mhm.
and then yeah, you've tried all these different things, and now you help people with their businesses online and different things. So, and very definitely connected spiritually. Like you have helped me so many ways. Last week we had a conversation for like 2 hours, and I just honestly, Bo, I felt so like I told you I was in my brain too much. And I need that somebody like you who has that way of coming back to who am I? What do I want? I just felt this burden, this weight come off. And so I appreciate you and I appreciate all of your wisdom that you share. And what I wanted to talk to you today about was how we trusting the universe, trusting
Mm.
God, source, universe, whatever that means to people, because that can be such a scary thing for all of us. And yet, I mean, I'm on this journey of trusting. I'm taking these steps forward. I think of, what was it, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And at the end, he had to go get oh, what was it? The cup of Jesus, the Holy Grail. I always forget the wording. And one of the last challenges was to get to the other side. He had to step onto this invisible bridge.
Mm.
And he was like, and he just like closed his eyes and just stepped. And then the bridge showed up before him. And every time there's something where I have to step forward in faith and just trust, I always think of that scene
Mm.
because it's scary. And then it's there, it's right there for us. And
Yeah.
you have shared with me that this is something that you're very passionate about. Do you want to share a little bit about your experience in trusting God, source, universe?
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I'll share the way I relate to it is existence. To me, I'm aware that I'm having an existence. I'm aware of existence as a whole around me. So that's the way I talk about it for myself, is that like I have a relationship with existence as a whole. And that's actually made it a lot easier for me to step into trust even more, because I agree with you. It's not like it ever stops. Like what's been shown to me from the soul perspective is that life is designed to be a mystery. Like there's no way of ever knowing what's going to happen next. It's like it's designed to be a mystery. Therefore, trust, because I'll speak from my experience. If there's a trust that like my soul is aware of where things are going, like how things are turning out, then I have a rock, I have a foundation that I can commune with inside of me. It's not going to tell me what's going to happen. However, it's going to be like, I'm there with you every step of the way. You can always talk to me in the moment, because to me, the soul is the part that sees the entire human life. It sees all the possibilities, it sees all the pathways, the timelines, the potentials. And it know, because literally every time we go right or left, yes or no, that's going down a path like every single time. Because it's like, if you go to the movie, you don't go to the movie, that's two different timelines, that's two different experiences. And like to me, the soul can see like where each path is leading, if that makes sense. And so while the human mind, that what I've been shown is designed to be processing the present moment, though it would love to know where things are going, it's not the human mind's job. What I've been shown is the human mind's job is to experience the present moment. It's not designed to search outside of this moment. That's what the soul's doing. And the soul will always be there to be like, I got you. What feels best in this moment? What would you do if you're being yourself? What's your true answer? The soul's always there to be that foundation of like, what feels right to you? Do you want to go to the movie or do you want to stay home? What feels better? And so that's what has really, it's me being aware of my mind for what it is, which is something that is a tool. Like if you give it a recipe, it can bake a cake. um, that's something I think that Paul Selig, I can't remember if it was Paul Selig or someone else, but someone else in kind of like the metaphysical industry would be like, yeah, the mind is great. Like if you have a recipe, you can bake a cake. However, it's not designed to figure out what's coming. It's not designed to go outside this moment. So as I became aware of like the mind's true function, I stopped relying on my mind to be the leader in life, like the decision maker in a lot of ways. Like I found that I had this thing in my heart that I'll refer to as my soul intelligence, that was always encouraging me to trust myself, to trust how I feel, to trust my true answer in the moment. Yes, no, left, right, what feels better. And that's what's really become my rock and my foundation, because the mind still has, insecurities at times, apprehensions, like what's going to happen. And I also have found this core, this rock in my heart, my soul intelligence, that's always just like, what feels better right now? What would you do if you're being yourself? So that's been my personal foundation, is, that soul intelligence that I experience in my
Yeah.
heart.
That's beautiful. That's beautifully stated. One thing that I wonder if you could share how if somebody's listening to this and they're like, well, how do I get there? Because from somebody like me who would, I never knew I could trust my body. And I was told I had to look to the Bible. What does that say about where my life is going or the authority figures? So it's taken me a long time. Like I completely know what you're saying. I now trust it. There are things I'm like, do I really want to do this? No. Okay. I'm not going to do it. But when we're stuck so much in, first of all, you have to do this. Like you have to go to this party just because it's an obligation, even though you don't really want to go. Or you've been stuck maybe in an authoritative environment and you don't know that you could listen to yourself. How, I know it's not an easy answer, but how would you explain to people, like maybe if they were to ask you, how do you get to that place?
It is a journey. It's a journey for sure. It's been a journey for me. And what I've seen and what I notice, the thing that stood out the most to me is inauthenticity. I
Right.
think that's a word.
Yes.
Being inauthentic. Inauthentic, I know is a word. Anyways, I made up the other one if it's not. Uh,
I do that all the time.
improv. Improv. Uh, I mean, someone has to invent words, right?
Right.
Me. Um, yeah. So I mean, I watch a lot of films, as I told you. Like I studied film earlier in life. I'm studying film again. I love film. So you see a lot of, observation of behavior. And I see it because I lived it in my own life. And I just see so much of people not being true to themselves, not saying what they really want to say. And I don't mean just like offloading on people, being like, I'm going to tell you what no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like when someone is like, are you happy in this relationship? There's so many, and there's no judgment, by the way. It's just observation. And because in my own life that I've seen the difference between inauthentic and authentic for myself, authenticity has created so much freedom, so much more regulation of my nervous system, emotional stability, more peace, more happiness, more just clarity in relationships. Like this is what I've seen by becoming authentic more and more, layer by layer myself. And so I'm just speaking from like, wow, in my own experience, authentic versus non authentic, authentic to me is 1,000 times better, at least. And I still just observe, and like again, there's no judgment because I've been there. I just the biggest thing that stands out to me is that like we've been so many people have been programmed to be completely inauthentic to themselves. And so that is like, again, if someone's like, hey, are you happy in this relationship? Instead of being like, oh, what's the right answer? What's the right answer that'll make them happy? What's the answer that'll make me look good? Instead of like, a lot of times it's that. What do they want to hear? What do they need to hear? What'll make me look good? What'll make it all okay? In quotation marks. To me, that's all inauthentic. If the real answer is, I haven't been happy in a while.
Hmm. And
If
listening
that's
to
the
that.
answer, if
Sorry.
that's the answer, that's the answer.
Yeah.
And I see just, and again, I'm not judging, but I just see so many, and it's helpful to see these characters doing these things on screen, because a lot of times it's so helpful to see what happens with these inauthentic choices. You see someone not being true to themselves and you see where that leads. It's much easier on screen just to watch a character's journey and where certain choices lead, because then it's like food for thought. Well, like they weren't being true to themselves, and where did that lead to? And where did that lead to? And where did that lead to? And so the journey that, I mean, it's been a journey. I have been through so many different things, modalities, experiences, all kinds of things in the personal growth and self-help and spiritual and metaphysical healing, so many things. So it's been a journey. I will say that. The thing that stood out the most to me, the thing that's helped me get to a place of trusting myself, is really paying attention to my authentic answers and honoring them, being true to my authentic answers. That's really the crux or the core of it all.
Yeah. I love connecting stories. I also love films and TV shows. Like for me, that was how I relate things. And
Yeah.
that's why, I'll say, oh, that's what happened on The Office or on the show. Because that's how I just relate in my brain. But yeah, observing that, we'll watch movies and we'll know, no, don't stay in that relationship. It's toxic or
Mm.
you're not happy. And we see that from the outside perspective. And so, but then when you're able to recognize that within yourself, like I've had situations where relationships were just frustrating and frustrating, and I get angry and resentful. Obviously, there's something off. And so that's where I would take a step. Okay, do I say no more of this? And then those times when I did, oh, it just that once again, that weight came off, that burden. I was like, yes, this is the best choice for me. And I trust that there's somebody else out there, or maybe not. I don't know, but that's what's kind of fun about this is like the mystery of life playing. We're playing with everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's lots of options, that's for sure.
And there was also something you mentioned about these different choices we make, and it just reminded me of the movie Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow. Do you remember that movie? It's from the
If I've
90s.
if I've seen it, it's probably been a long time. Yeah.
She was on a subway and the doors, she missed the subway, and then she had two different experiences. And then the other one, she caught it, or the bus or something,
Mm,
or train.
okay.
And it showed how her life changed, who she met when this happened. And she broke up with her boyfriend and this, and then she dated a guy. And then the other one where she kept on with her boyfriend. And it was just like
Mm.
what happens in those choices, whatever we make, where it leads us in these different directions. So it's
Yeah,
fascinating.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, every fork in the road is literally kind of it's its own timeline.
Yeah. So it can be so scary. Like you were talking about our brains. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, my brain gets me in trouble all the time, just in the sense of fear pops up so much. Or obligation or whatever it is, right? Like you were saying, the things in society or all that we were told we had to do this and this and this. And whenever I followed that because somebody said you had to do that or this is what society expects you to do, it was it was not for my the best way that I could live. And yet whenever it was like my gut, I just knew. And it takes that practice, but you just know. You're like, nope, I'm going to do this. And there's a sense of peace that comes from that. That's when you know that that's and it's like I'm trusting, right?
Yeah, well, to me, that's you being authentic because you are paying attention to your true answer, whether maybe it's going to be understood widely or not. Like you are, and it's to me, it's not just you're not just going with any answer. To me, it sounds like you're going with the answer that creates peace, that feels just like good in your body, maybe good in your heart. There's just a sense of like just a relaxed, like, yeah, like this is what it is. And so to me, coming from that relaxed, just deep knowing, like, that what I found for me is that place always serves me. And, the better place I'm in, the better I show up in just every aspect of my life and in relationships. So to me, like you're connecting with that very wise, universal intelligence within you, which is beautiful because it's giving you the authentic answer for you in that given situation or circumstance.
Yeah. And so I know some people might question, well, but how do I know I'll be taken care of? How do I know that there's something like it is such a scary thing when you're not, especially at first when you don't have that experience. Like I that's why I like getting older because I can look back and I can see all of these things that have woven together. That job that I didn't really like, or actually I hated, but I needed that so I could learn this, so I could do this, so I could be here. And now in my 40s, I can find it easier because I've seen it, trust. But for those people who just like there's this, they don't really know, um, maybe they don't believe in God source universe. Like how do you, I wonder like how would they start being able to trust? Or do those people maybe not trust? Maybe they stay in their brains. Like if you were to talk to somebody, what would you think about if they were to ask you, what do I do?
Here's the thing, I can't tell anyone what to do. Like we're
Mm,
all having such an individual experience. I can only share what's worked for me, what is working for me, what I've found, and that will speak to someone, it will resonate with someone, or it won't. So I can only ever share what I've found for me, and just it is what it is, and I'm happy to share what I found for me. The one thing I'll say is that the practice that you just mentioned of looking back and just, looking back, because I'm sure it seems like a lot of people, at least from the conversations I've had, again, my my experience, what I've seen, is that a lot of people tend to be able to relate to like uncertainty and how is it going to work out going forward. And it seems like people can most of the time look back and recognize other times in their life going backward, into the past where they also felt uncertain, but then they can also see how it worked out, as you were just saying, like, oh, like if you think about 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe like you were just like, oh my gosh, how on earth are things going to move forward? They did, clearly. And whatever the concerns were back then, chances are they're not the same concerns today, 10 years later. So that's a really awesome practice. And it's actually helped me in what felt like big crossroads in my life before was the looking back and going like, oh yeah, that worked out and that worked out and that worked out, especially when I'm feeling uncertain. So that seems to be just a really good recipe. I mean, it's worked for me. It seems to be helpful to other people. So I love that you brought that up. And then again, I can only speak to my experience with, again, what I'm going to refer to as existence. And there was something deep in me that wanted to trust. There's something deep in me that wanted to move beyond a lot of fears. There's something deep in me that wanted to experience more peace and happiness and joy. And it's that thing deep within me that I kept tuning into, kept listening to, that began to show me, because again, it's been a journey, to show me what trust looks like for me. And like you were saying before with the Indiana Jones example, like it's been very much like that. Like a lot of times for me, it's like you don't need to know 3 days from now. You don't need to know 5, 10 days from now. There is a step in front of you. Like what feels like the right step, and like, will you take it? I mean, I just had a moment like that yesterday, another kind of like, you know, uncertainty, mystery. And it's like, okay, you know which way you're interested in, you know which way feels exciting, and it's exciting and it also involves trust. You also know like the comfort, the more like just staying like small and trying to, feel secure in all these things. It's like the exciting one's more uncertain. The familiar is more just like you kind of feel like you know what to expect. It's like which way. And again, I'm just talking about me. I'm not telling anyone else what they should ever do. And I was just like, I've had enough life experiences, like, okay, I'm going for the uncertain, exciting one. And I was like, because that's just where my energy is. That's where I'm just like, I gotta find out what happens. I gotta find out what happens when I go with the exciting. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know the excitement's there. I know the passion's there, the mystery's there. And so to me, it's just been like throughout my life, it's been over and over and over again, coming to those right or left and being like, do I trust to take the exciting one where I just don't really know? And it's not always the exciting one. Sometimes it's been like, sometimes it's been more like you just need to stop, you need to slow down, you need to reset, you need to just take care of yourself. That also is, can feel uncertain if like it's been a lot about like moving forward and creating things and building things, but like at the same time you've become exhausted. I'm saying you, but I mean me. um if there was a point where I became exhausted or just wiped out, like then the choice that served me best was, I was getting the nudge to like stop, slow down, reset, take care of yourself. You don't need to build anything right now. And so then in that moment, it was trusting that. It was trusting that the what just felt right was like, just stop, just take care of yourself. And so in that moment, I learned to trust that like it was okay for me to stop and to reset and to take care of my nervous system if I was operating from too much, got to get it done or got to make it happen. So those also have been forks in the roads for me. And I've learned by trusting what felt best, what felt right, that served me. And so it's the real life experience, seeing how it served me over and over and over again when I chose that choice that just felt best, that felt right in my heart and my body. It's seeing how that worked out, how that paid off, how that was just better than the other option. It's like seeing the better unfolding of events by listening to that deep wisdom that has built more of the foundational trust.
That's beautiful. And it reminded me of those. I remember seeing these affirmations, and I just remind myself of that every time. I am open, I am ready for opportunities for whatever comes my way. I want to expand. Like if I'm ready to expand, like you were saying, it's you have to be wanting to, and if you're not, then that's fine too. Like we all have these different journeys. But when I'm ready for something new, I'm like, "Hey, I'm open. I want to try this.
Yeah.
I want to experience." And sometimes I regret after I said that. I'm like, "Oh no, not this experience." But I'm like, "No, I'm here. I want to experience life." And also detaching from the end result of what I think it should look like, because we
Mm-hmm.
can get so stuck there at times. And that also takes away from it. Maybe it is that thing, but it looks differently. And we don't always, sometimes we try to force things so it looks like the way we want it to look like. And that's something I used to do as well, like holding on to relationships because I thought, well, this is supposed to be the man I'm going to marry. Well, that didn't work out. And as we were talking about, when you can go back and see all these things and how it was moving towards in our favor, when you're able to let go of certain things, when you're able to trust, it's like there's so much better for you than what you can even imagine. And that's really exciting. And I'm so much more open to this because of that journey, right? Because this, like you're saying, this is all our journey. Um, and the more these things come up, the more I'm open, the more I see and I trust and I see these things work together. It gets easier.
Yeah, so you're observing, to me, what that means, or what I'm observing, is that you're observing your own life experiences and it's showing you more, like you're learning by your own experience, and that's one thing I want to say before, like this is a unique individual experience in a way, because like we each get to decide, like again, I say for me, I'm having a relationship with existence, everything that exists, including this big universe that we just know a little bit about from like the intellectual standpoint. We know a little bit about it. It's huge, it's vast, and it's one of you know, as far as I'm concerned, countless, because like there, it's always like, these reports of finding more universes. uh, and so I say it's a unique experience because there is this, free will. We get to decide, like I get to decide what is the relationship I want to have with existence. What's the relationship I want to have? And I have had a yearning to have a trusting one. Like there's something I'm like, I want to have a more trusting one. I want to have a more relaxed relationship with life or existence, more peaceful. And because that's what I wanted, that's what I began to explore. And that's, yeah, through life experiences, I found my own way of connecting the dots where I'm like, oh yeah, I do. For me, I see how the trust pays off. I see how the authentic answers pay off. That's the relationship I've wanted to have for me. And everyone else gets to determine what they want to experience for them.
Right, because everyone is here for a different reason and for what they want out of this. And so some people might choose not to trust, and
Yeah.
that's their journey. One of the things that I was raised in, we had to like push our religion, push other people to do. And I've been learning, and I still have these moments where I'm like, no, they have to do what I think they should do. And but it's so releasing, and it's beautiful to let people do what they're gonna do. That's their journey. They're maybe that's what they came on earth to do over there. And it's like that's fine, right? Just allowing that space for all of us. It's hard to let
Yeah, I
that
mean,
that go sometimes.
well, again, it's, to me, it's probably most likely, I would imagine it's because of a lot of the societal like shoulds, or supposed tos. From everything I've remembered from what again I'll call like the soul wisdom or the soul experience is that literally this is a choose your own adventure experience. And like, yeah, it's none of my business. It's none of anyone else's business to try and choose for someone else. That's
Right.
their experience. Like if they want to hear reflections, if they want to hear observations, like, if they're open to that, they can welcome those. Still, it's their experience. It's their experience.
Yeah.
We each have our own experience, and we're always choosing what we're creating with it, what we're making of it. So to me, it's, yeah, it's the way I experience it is it's literally a choose your own adventure kind of thing.
And it's beautiful and it's fun. All while being scary, and like there's so many different emotions and things that we go through. And yeah. And like my friend Julie always talks about, let's play with life. And I was so stuck on things before, and now I just think, yeah, I just want to play. Let's try this and see where that goes. And I'm it's way more fun than I ever thought it would be. So
That's good. Yeah, and I'm glad you're finding that. I mean, it may feel, I can relate to, just the scary type thing. And again, it's just, it can be, uh, it can be scary. Also, again, just for me, I'll just say it's like, it's more like uncertainty. It's like, it's the not knowing. It's just like, okay, where is this going? Because the mind, as far as I'm aware, like craves security. It wants to know, it wants to be able to plan or predict or like be able to bet on certain things, turning out a certain way. Because the mind has been conditioned in a lot of way to find security out there or find security in what it can hold on to. And to me, again, that's just the way the mind has been conditioned. Whereas, again, what I've seen from my soul perspective is the soul perspective for me is that I am life. I am life. Everything is life. And the thing that I've been really leaning into for me is recognizing that I am life, seeing unwavering evidence that I'm loved by all of life. The thing that I really carry with me now is, why wouldn't life have my back? Like
Mm.
I'm loved, I'm appreciated, I was created, I was chosen to be here. I am a part of the thing that's everything. Why wouldn't it have my back? And so that's the thing that's been helping it become less uncertain for me is when there is the uncertainty from the mind, I just keep leaning into like, why wouldn't life have my back? Like I'm loved. I was created. This isn't an accident.
Yeah.
And so I just keep leaning into that. Like, why wouldn't life have my back? Like I'm loved.
Mm.
That's what helps me.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that helps me too. Knowing we are loved.
Yeah.
Oh, this is wonderful, Beau. And I was just wondering if you have any words of wisdom, anything else you wanted to share with the listeners,
My goodness. Uh
or if that's everything. You've said a lot of beautiful things today.
Well, just sometimes I just have to reflect with that question and
Mm.
just kind of see what rises. I'm just tuning into my own intuitive feelings and just seeing what wants to rise to the surface because it's not like I'm just not, I don't tend just to pick anything. I'm like in my feeling level, it's like what rises to the surface. And
Mhm.
uh, what I'll say is that, again, what I've found just by going deep within and just listening to my own heart and soul is that life is vast and the answers are there. I keep finding more and more of the answers, like within myself, within my own awareness, intuitive soul awareness. And it's more and more magical. The synchronicities, like being really present in my life, like more and more present all the time, less distracted by the trying to figure it out, less distracted by this is what I think about this and this is what I think about that and this is what they, quote unquote should do. That's to me like very distract what I found that's very distracted thinking because it takes me out of the moment. And the more
Mm.
I've been in the moment, the more I've really focused on presence, fully being here. I just see the connectedness of all things. I see the flow of all things, the intelligence, the thoughtfulness of all things, and it's beautiful and it is mesmerizing and it continues to invoke just more and more amounts of awe, like incredible awe. And that's what I found, that's what I've been finding, that's what I continue to find for me just by listening to that deep intelligence within, that lives within me, that lives within everything. Because to me everything is coming from the intelligence, behind everything. And so therefore it lives in everything. And so that's what listening has done for me. And it's just, I continue to be blown away at just how beautiful and intricate the design of things is when I'm fully here, listening, present, trusting the best that I can right now. I just continue to be in awe. And so that's what I'm finding, continue to
Mm.
find for me. And I'll leave it at that.
That's amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Beau. It was wonderful having you on.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's been really fun. Feels like it flew by.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys.